Hey guys, I got to spend my last semester of college and the rest of my savings to go to Costa Rica to finish my degree in biology studying sustainability and biodiversity. Our journey begins at the La Selva Biological Research Station, which you can see right here. Pretty sounds, pretty view. It was awesome. On our first class hike, we saw this dude, and he was huge. It's known as the tiger rat snake, and they can get up to 9 feet long. And I don't know if he was, but he was close. So they call it a rainforest. Based off what I'm seeing, I think I'd have to agree. La Selva was a really interesting place, and there's so much life around me at all times. Literally, even in my dorms, there were bugs that would come in. Bats were on the outside of the screens of the windows. I even found a tiny little scorpion inside the shower with me, which was terrifying. We woke up to howler monkeys howling almost every morning, and they can sound really terrifying. They literally sound like hellhounds. And I don't know, I guess it's all part of the experience. I took this bridge to class every day, and the view was amazing. There was also like a sloth that lived in the tree, and we saw him pretty frequently, but sadly he was too far away to capture on video. It was also terrifying to walk back to our dorms in the pitch black on this bridge. It was just void, even with the flashlight. On our way back from another class hike, we saw an agouti, and he is such a cutie. He's basically a mini capybara, and he likes to eat nuts. At one point, we got to go on a boat tour of the Sarapiqui River in Puerto Viejo, which is also where La Selva was located in. We saw lots of cool plants and animals and fish. And we saw a green iguana on shore, and our tour guide went over because he had plastic on its neck, and he cut it off of him, and it just made me very hopeful to see someone go out of their way to do something like that, because in America, we don't do that very often. One of the coolest things I probably saw was a line of proboscis bats on a log, and they were shaking back and forth to mimic the movement of a snake. And they also had cool patterns on their back that kind of resembled a snake pattern as well. But I can't find anything about this mimicry online. Our tour guide told us that that's why they were doing it, but I can't find anything about it. So if you guys got any information on that, that would be awesome. Please let me know. Here we are hiking through Finca Sura, which is an entirely sustainable farm that grows a variety of crops, but mostly pineapple. They've got so much pineapple. Monocropping and pesticide use are pretty common in the pineapple industry, and they ruin the soil and the overall ecosystem that they are farmed in, and the pineapples usually taste like shit compared to those grown organically. I got to try this out for myself, so I'm an expert, trust me. Here is a view of the pineapple fields, and pineapples are unique because they only produce one crop in their lifetime, and they take about a year to harvest if you want them to be tasty. Most industrial farms speed up the growing process and harvest them early since they are so high in demand in America, and we love to consume. As you can see, our tour guide was a master at macheting pineapple, and we got to try it. I can confirm that it was much tastier and juicier than anything I've had in America, and I worked at a juice bar, so I'm very experienced with pineapples. We saw these poison dart frogs everywhere in Costa Rica, and in the past, natives would use the poison they secrete on the tips of blow darts and use them as a weapon. Thus their name. Here's some more beautiful scenery from Finca Sura. at La Selva, we saw a flock of crested guans coming back from our classes, and there were like 6 of them, and they flew out of trees one by one, and it was really silly. I was like, when is it gonna stop? You gonna go catch up? Yep. They're doing a Naruto run. I'm sorry. It's okay.
One of the things that these monkeys will do is they will pee on you. Yeah, it's a way to get you to leave them alone. I've been peed on one before.
So basically, don't piss them off or you'll get pissed on. These are the white-faced capuchin monkeys, and they were one of my favorite things we saw. There were so many of them on this hike that we got to go on, and there were little babies. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the babies on camera, and this was the only one I really could get good quality of, but it was so cute.
That's a good view right there. Oh, he's showing. Oh my God. He's showing off.
On the same hike, amongst the white capuchins, we saw these monkeys swinging around, and I think they're called spider monkeys. I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, I had to capture it because it's really cool, even if it's just a bunch of pixels swinging around. Later on this hike, we saw a pack of peccaries, which are a type of pig. They usually live in herds of up to like 50 individuals, I think, and they separate into smaller groups, and you can see that here. And later on, we saw some on a night hike that I didn't get on video because it was nighttime, of course. And it was 2 adult ones and 4 little baby ones, and it was probably the cutest thing I've ever seen. They were so tiny, and I wish I got to get it on video, but I just had to experience it in real life, I guess. Got this silly little video of this oblivious katydid just strolling along, not knowing what's going on.
That's the end of the table, my God.
It's reaching.
He's not the brightest.
He's like,
Dude. It's like he sipped some fermented, like...
Yep, definitely a male.
That's the male right there, that's what we do.
We did say low IQ. He did end up falling off the table. A wild green iguana appeared, and he was blocking my path. This concludes our time at La Selva, and we make our way to Monteverde, and you can see the geological transformation throughout this recording I got on the bus. It was very evident. We went from tropical rainforest to like highland cloudforest. On our trip, we passed by the Arenal volcano, one of those. And we stopped at the national park and we hiked around the volcano, and it was really cool because I've never seen a volcano so close, and it was really pretty, and we took a bunch of pictures there. It was a nice little pit stop. You can kind of see the clouds starting to invade the forest here. We found these caterpillars that line up to camouflage and disguise themselves as a snake, and I don't know what they're called. I can't find anything online about them. So again, if you guys know anything about this, please let me know. Ooh, they all moved at once. This was taken at the Hummingbird Cafe at the resort we were staying at, and there were so many different kinds of hummingbirds flying past you at all times. So here we're on a canopy tour of the cloudforest in Monteverde, and it's so beautiful, and each bridge would get higher up above the canopy. This whole area that we were in was part of the bellbird corridor, and the bellbird is an endangered bird that they're trying to preserve the ecosystem for by planting a bunch of trees. And we kept hearing it throughout this tour, but we couldn't see it. But one of my friends was really determined, and she would not give up. We stayed there for a very long time, and eventually we got to see it at the very top of a very far away tree through some binoculars. And I don't know, it was cool because I didn't think it was even possible that we were gonna see it. It was like a legendary Pokemon or something, like a myth, I don't know. We prepared these planters for the trees to be planted in the bellbird corridor, and we actually got to help out plant some trees there, which is really cool. Later on, we got to hike up to the Continental Divide, and on one side is the Pacific Ocean and the other side is the Caribbean. Sadly, it was too cloudy for us to see anything, but what do you expect from a cloud forest? This is known as elven forest because the elevation keeps the trees from growing very tall, and they all look really short, like elves would live there. Finally, one of my favorite things I saw the entire trip, the margay. We got very lucky. We were behind our group, and because of this, we ran into some people that had caught this in their telescope. And one of our tour guides told us that in his 12 years of working there, he had only seen wildcats twice. So we got so lucky to be able to see this. And it's so cute. It's probably the coolest thing I've seen in my entire life. We got to go to a butterfly garden that artificially recreated a bunch of the habitats in Costa Rica, and there were different butterflies in each habitat. And I'm gonna shut up and let you look at some beautiful butterflies. Our time in Monteverde has officially ended, and we are now on our way to Playa Hermosa. Beautiful beach! And here is the view outside my room. It's so pretty. Finally, we got to go to the beach, and we visited the tide pools and found lots of tiny little creatures in there. We found this tiny little crab, super cute, but I couldn't find anything on it. So if you guys know anything, please let me know.
Oh my god. That is a fat ass motherfucker.
Towards the end of the trip, we got to go on a boat, and it was super fun, and we got to go snorkeling in the middle of the ocean. Sadly, I didn't see very much because it was cloudy. I saw a couple fish, but also kind of glad that I didn't, because apparently there's sea urchins and things, and I don't want to know what's down there that I can't see. This concludes our trip to Costa Rica, and I'm very sad that I have to leave and grateful that I got to go, and I hope one day I make enough money to be able to go back. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever experienced, and I don't know if I'll be able to top that.